Many people in this world are lost. It's excruciating to live with past mistakes. It is so difficult. I always would like to change so many things in my past, but I can't. I've got to move forward, and it's very difficult to go back over them.
Now it's payback time. Meghan and Fergie are both exactly the same. People say, oh, Fergie never talked bad about the royal family, because Fergie was literally blackmailing the royal family, because Fergie has been part of the shady deals that Andrew has done and some of King Charles.
Andrew Mountbatten Windsor was arrested on his 66th birthday. Police cars rolled onto the Sandringham estate like something out of a movie scene, lights flashing quietly, officers moving fast but controlled. Searches were carried out at Royal Lodge while the world watched in shock. This wasn't just another royal headline. This was a moment that felt different, heavier, almost unreal. Even more striking, the king refused to publicly refer to him as his brother. Instead, the official statement used the full name, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. No warmth, no family tone, just cold formality.
The royal family need to distance themselves from this man, don't they?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it does seem that he doesn't care two hoots about the country, about the royal family, about what they're doing, and about him being a part of this. And it's not necessarily because he hasn't got a job now, because that's his fault, but actually to make people feel that how you're behaving is absolutely disgusting makes a big difference.
Across every platform, channels rushed to cover the arrest itself, repeating the same breaking updates again and again. But while everyone focused on the flashing cameras and legal drama, another story slipped into the shadows, the story of the woman who quietly vanished. Because behind the headlines about Andrew lies a far stranger mystery, a disappearance that almost nobody is talking about. The moment pressure started building, when questions became louder and doors began closing, Sarah Ferguson seemed to fade from public life entirely. She hasn't appeared publicly since September. Her companies began shutting down one by one. Charities slowly distanced themselves. And somewhere overseas, away from cameras, she is believed to be holding decades of royal knowledge. The kind of secrets people whisper about but rarely dare to say out loud.
Ferguson is as cunning and as deviant and as skanky as Meghan Markle. She just was lucky that when she was doing all her skankiness, the internet was not around.
That's where the real story begins, and to understand it, you have to go back 34 years, to a villa balcony in the south of France, where photographs once shocked the establishment and changed public perception forever. Here's what investigators confirmed. On the morning of February 19th, 6 unmarked police vehicles arrived at Wood Farm on the Sandringham estate. 8 plainclothes officers from Thames Valley Police carried out the arrest on suspicion of misconduct in public office. The allegation alone stunned observers. The possible consequence? A maximum sentence of life imprisonment. Let that sink in for a moment.
Really never thought we'd see anything like this. There are currently 2 teams of police on the King's estate, searching the King's property.
Life imprisonment connected to a royal figure. The arrest followed newly released documents claiming Andrew allegedly forwarded confidential government trade reports during his time as UK trade envoy. Soon after, King Charles issued a statement deliberately referring to him not as family, but simply as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. That wording spoke louder than any speech ever could. It looked less like protocol and more like a public separation, a clear signal that the royal line had been drawn. But the arrest may only be the visible layer. Beneath it, several lives shifted overnight, and one woman may have sensed trouble long before anyone else noticed the warning signs.
The more you know Sarah Ferguson, the more you realize actually what a villain she is.
So where is Sarah Ferguson now? Even experienced royal reporters admit they don't know. Her last confirmed public appearance was in September 2025. After that, reports placed her briefly in the French Alps, later in the UAE, and then Doha, Qatar. No confirmed residence, no public statement, no appearance beside Andrew when the arrest happened, something many observers found deeply unusual. For nearly 20 years after their divorce, she remained close to her former husband, standing beside him through scandals, criticism, and relentless headlines. Yet when the biggest crisis arrived, she was nowhere to be seen.
My mistakes have been put on the public stage. Other people's mistakes aren't. And there are many things that are good, but good news doesn't sell papers, and bad Fergie sells.
And then events accelerated fast. Between February 13th and 16th, just days before the arrest, all 6 companies where Fergie served as sole director filed for strike-off. Every single one. Her charity, Sarah's Trust, announced closure. Several UK charities quietly removed her as patron. In a matter of days, her professional world appeared to dissolve completely. When someone dismantles their public life that quickly, people don't ask if something happened. They start asking what she knew and when she knew it.
This isn't the first scandal that she's weathered in the last 30 years. So I was surprised in some ways that she has survived as long as she has, both in terms of her endorsements and commercial appeal and in terms of the work she does with charity.
People started asking the real question: what exactly is coming next? Because the documents released weren't only about Andrew. Hidden inside them were details that shifted attention towards someone else entirely. Emails revealed that Fergie traveled to Miami to visit a convicted financier just 5 days after his release from prison. The timing alone raised eyebrows across media circles and royal watchers alike. According to published reports, she described him as a legend and the brother she always wished for. She reportedly wrote asking for employment as a house assistant, explaining that she desperately needed money at the time. Those words painted a picture far removed from royal privilege, a former duchess searching for stability while standing dangerously close to controversy. A source familiar with the situation summarized her role bluntly: she was a useful person who offered access to Andrew. That sentence hit hard because it suggested influence, connections, and proximity to power all wrapped into one complicated relationship.
Her parents were very extravagant, lived beyond their means, were in debt. I wouldn't quite say social climbers, but they were networkers and pretty ruthless and pretty promiscuous. So she didn't have a great sort of background to come from.
Anyone old enough to remember the summer of 1992 already knows where many observers believe this pattern truly began. August heat, a private villa in Saint-Tropez, and a photographer positioned with a long lens waiting for the perfect moment. The photographs that followed changed everything overnight. Images of Sarah Ferguson alongside her financial advisor, John Bryan, appeared across newspaper front pages worldwide. No public relations strategy could soften the impact. The royal image cracked instantly. What made the situation even more painful was the presence of young family members at the same villa during that period, turning a private scandal into a deeply personal embarrassment for the monarchy.
And this is historic. There has not been a crisis like this in 90 years.
At the time, Fergie had been staying at Balmoral with the royal family. Reports later claimed Prince Philip reacted immediately when the photos surfaced, allegedly placing the newspaper in front of her during breakfast. A silent but powerful confrontation. Princess Margaret later wrote a letter that many insiders never forgot. She reportedly said Fergie had brought more shame on the family than could ever have been imagined. That same year, Queen Elizabeth II famously referred to 1992 as Annus horribilis, a year marked by turmoil and public crisis. Soon after, Fergie's position inside royal life shifted dramatically, and her exit felt less like a choice and more like an inevitable outcome.
Her man serves her no purpose. Does that sound familiar? Fergie saying, oh, you know what? I'm done. Why? Because now she no longer has the use of the title.
But here's the pattern few people connect clearly. 1992, the villa photographs. 2010, the cash for access sting, where hidden cameras recorded Fergie offering introductions to Andrew for £500,000 and accepting £40,000 in cash. Then 2019 brought Andrew's disastrous television interview. In 2022 came a confidential legal settlement. And now, in 2026, an arrest that seems like another chapter in a story repeating itself again and again. 34 years, same family, same controversies, different headlines, but a familiar rhythm.
What Fergie is going to do is just gonna blow his father, Camilla, Catherine, and William, because she blames Prince William and Princess Catherine for her misfortunes. She doesn't blame herself, or she doesn't take any accountability for the fact that it is her behavior that got her ousted.
After decades filled with scandal followed by apology, humiliation followed by survival, one question keeps resurfacing. Did Fergie and Andrew ever truly separate? Or was the divorce simply legal paperwork while they continued operating as a united front behind closed doors? Caught in the middle of all this history are two women who never chose the spotlight or the chaos surrounding it. Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie spent their adult lives trying to create identities separate from their parents' reputation. Beatrice built a consultancy career. Eugenie pursued work in the art world. Both married, both became mothers, and according to multiple royal sources, both have struggled to balance private lives with a public legacy they never asked to inherit. And this is the word insiders kept repeating: duped. That's how people close to the situation described what happened inside the family. According to multiple reports, their father insisted again and again that he had done nothing wrong. He told the same thing to the Queen. He told the same thing to Charles. And for a long time, they believed him. Trust inside a family runs deep, especially when the pressure of the outside world feels relentless.
I made thunderous mistakes. So yes, I've got better judgment at 51 now because of my appallingly bad judgment.
But when reality started catching up, the reactions between the daughters could not have been more different. Princess Beatrice has reportedly remained in contact. Just weeks before the arrest, she was seen horse riding with Andrew alongside her child, appearing calm despite growing public tension. She even invited him to her younger daughter's christening, signaling loyalty when many expected distance. Insiders describe her approach as careful damage containment, staying close, avoiding public statements, and keeping her life quiet in the Cotswolds while media attention grows louder around her. Princess Eugenie, however, is said to have moved in the opposite direction entirely. Sources claim she has cut off communication with her father completely. No calls returned, no visits. One insider compared the situation to a full family break, describing it as a total separation rather than temporary distance. Reports suggest she refuses contact, creating a clear emotional boundary that surprised many observers. There may be deeper reasons behind that decision. Eugenie co-founded the Anti-Slavery Collective, an organization focused on raising awareness about modern slavery and exploitation. The connection is difficult to ignore, considering allegations connected to individuals once linked to her father's social circle. The irony has not escaped public attention, and insiders say it weighs heavily on how she chooses to respond now.
There is no sympathy for this lying grifter. She has shown her true colours. She is an utter disgrace. She is an embarrassment to the monarchy.
Both daughters are reportedly struggling not only with their father's situation, but also with their mother's past actions. The emails in which Fergie referred to a convicted man as a legend became public knowledge. Beatrice and Eugenie saw those messages just like everyone else did. Imagine building your adult life trying to step away from controversy, only to see headlines pulling you back into it overnight. That kind of revelation changes how people see their own family history. Here's one perspective many commentators share about Fergie's public image. For decades, she positioned herself as misunderstood, the outsider left behind, the woman rejected by royal life. The narrative often sounded like poor Fergie, excluded and struggling to belong. But critics argue that many defining scandals were the result of personal decisions. The photographs in France, the cash for access incident, financial struggles played out publicly. At some point, observers say, the story shifts from circumstances happening to someone into choices shaping consequences. And now, some believe those consequences are impacting the next generation most of all.
Fergie, to me, she is more dangerous than anybody.
Then there's another connection that makes this story even more layered: the unexpected similarities between Fergie and Meghan Markle. When Prince Harry first introduced Meghan to royal life, it was Fergie, at Royal Lodge, who reportedly stepped in to help. Harry later confirmed that she demonstrated how to curtsy before Meghan met the Queen. Fergie showed the movement outside, Meghan copied it, and that moment quietly became Meghan Markle's first lesson in royal protocol, guided by a woman the institution had spent years trying to distance itself from. The parallels are striking. Both women married second sons. Both were labeled outsiders by sections of the press. Both experienced conflict with royal expectations. Both eventually stepped away from official royal roles. And afterward, both moved toward media projects, books, television appearances, brand partnerships, attempting to reshape their own narratives on their own terms while the world watched every move with intense curiosity.
Sarah Ferguson attended Tom Inskip's wedding in Jamaica in 2017. Meghan Markle was flown in private plane, allegedly belonging to Rob Burkle. Harry flew economy plus from the United Kingdom to Jamaica. And Fergie, Eugenie, and allegedly Andrew were at that wedding.
One royal commentator said it plainly last year. Meghan's post-royal career seemed to follow Fergie's playbook almost step for step. The comparison spread quickly among royal watchers who noticed similar patterns: media projects, personal branding, public storytelling, and carefully chosen appearances designed to reshape public image. Even Fergie herself admitted in 2019 that she felt connected to Meghan's experience, saying she understood the pressure and scrutiny that comes with entering royal life as an outsider. But then something shifted. By 2023, Fergie publicly claimed she barely knew Meghan and had hardly met her. The sudden change surprised observers who remembered earlier statements of support. One moment there was solidarity, the next there was distance. Royal relationships, it seems, can cool faster than anyone expects. Then comes the question that has followed both women in public conversations, the yacht narrative. Fergie's well-known South of France scandal became part of royal history decades ago. At the same time, online discussions have circulated for years about Meghan's life before joining the royal family, including rumors about appearances at exclusive luxury gatherings. Those claims about Meghan remain unproven, and it's important to say that clearly. Still, public perception often connects stories regardless of proof, and Fergie's past controversies only amplify those comparisons in the public imagination. Even family friendships appear to have shifted. Princess Eugenie was once considered Prince Harry's closest royal relative. She was reportedly the first member of the family to meet Meghan. They double-dated together in Toronto, shared holidays, and Eugenie even appeared briefly in the Sussex Netflix documentary series. Yet sources now claim the York sisters have firmly aligned themselves with the working royal family, and communication with Harry and Meghan has reportedly faded over time. The social bridges that once connected these branches of the family now look fragile, almost erased.
And the problem that Charles also has is that he allowed Beatrice and Eugenie to keep their princesses' titles. They are still Princess Beatrice, Princess Eugenie.
And Meghan, who spent years speaking publicly about feeling unsupported by royal structures, has remained noticeably quiet regarding Andrew's arrest. Many observers expected a statement or reaction, but instead there has been silence. Sometimes silence isn't absence. Sometimes it's strategy. When attention focuses on someone else's controversy, stepping back can allow previous headlines to fade without confrontation. Royal biographer Tom Bower, known for writing extensively about both the Sussexes and the wider royal family, described Andrew as a congenital liar and argued he should face permanent exile from royal life. According to Bower, additional damaging information may still emerge, suggesting the current crisis may only represent the beginning. Investigative author Andrew Loney, who spent years pursuing access to Andrew's trade envoy records, offered an equally harsh assessment, calling him a complete narcissist who continues to see himself as the victim. Loney claimed that even senior royals such as Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, recognized warning signs long before the current scandal became public, allegedly viewing Andrew as increasingly isolated within family dynamics.
You know, I certainly think, this guy, Andrew, what he's done to this family is absolutely appalling, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Former royal insider Paul Burrell, who served Princess Diana for years, described Andrew as entitled and overly confident, but his warning carried a darker tone. He suggested Andrew had effectively gone rogue, and that events unfolding now may not represent the final chapter. Royal historian Ed Owens went even further, calling this the most serious crisis facing the British monarchy since the abdication crisis of 1936. When a historian frames events in those terms, it stops sounding like commentary and begins to feel like a historical judgment. And that leads directly to the question palace insiders reportedly avoid saying out loud. The question hanging over everything right now. If Fergie truly has no home, no active companies, no charity platform, no official royal protection, and decades of royal secrets stored in her memory, then one question suddenly becomes impossible to ignore. What is actually stopping her from speaking out? Because the real danger right now isn't flashing police lights or courtroom drama. The real danger is silence. The kind of silence that feels temporary, like pressure building behind a closed door.
Our next guest has a long history with the royal family. Piers Morgan has met Andrew, knows his ex-wife Fergie, and their daughter as well. He joins us now on the phone. Hey, Piers, did you ever think it would come to this?
I was beginning to fear it might, but when it actually happens, it is an absolute bombshell. To put this into context, there has been no member of the royal family arrested in my lifetime. I'm 60 years old.
One royal expert summarized the situation bluntly. Fergie could reinvent herself overnight by telling her story to the highest bidder. She has seen private moments the public never witnessed. She knows conversations that never reached headlines. She understands where loyalty ended and survival began inside royal walls. As insiders often say, she knows exactly where the skeletons are buried. And knowledge like that carries enormous value. Reports claim she has been forced to leave Royal Lodge after Andrew departed earlier in February. Sources describe her current situation as uncertain, even calling it a housing crisis. No permanent residence confirmed, no official role to return to. Just a dramatic fall from royal privilege. A woman who once lived inside a 30-room mansion in Windsor Great Park is now reportedly considering moving into a modest annex on property connected to her daughter. The contrast alone tells a powerful story, from palace corridors to private retreat almost overnight. Now imagine the mindset of someone in that position, a person with little left to protect, carrying first-hand knowledge of how the monarchy functions behind closed doors. She witnessed the breakdown of Charles III and Diana, Princess of Wales's marriage. She stood beside Andrew during years when his influence was at its peak. She saw moments of triumph, moments of crisis, and moments when the institution reportedly closed ranks to shield itself while others faced public scrutiny.
It's a horrible, horrible quote, because it shows just how entitled this man really was to these things.
Publishers, streaming platforms, documentary producers, every major media player would likely compete for access to that perspective. A memoir, an interview series, a documentary confession, the possibilities alone would send shockwaves through royal media coverage. Right now, the monarchy's biggest concern may not be Andrew answering legal questions. It could be Fergie somewhere far from palace control, holding a phone that any global newsroom would hope starts ringing. Because silence can be powerful. Silence can also be leverage, and history shows that when public figures feel abandoned, stories eventually find their way into the open. The arrest may have happened on Andrew's birthday.
The reports are that Prince Andrew, the former Prince Andrew, has been arrested.
But the unintended consequence could be far bigger. Attention shifting toward the one person who has watched everything unfold for more than 3 decades. There's another layer people rarely discuss. Fergie understands media cycles better than almost anyone connected to the royal family. She survived scandals in the 1990s, public criticism in the 2000s, and reputation battles in the digital age. She knows how narratives change, how sympathy rises and falls, and how public opinion can turn in a single interview. That experience alone makes observers wonder whether her silence is hesitation or preparation. Meanwhile, Meghan Markle is watching from afar, aware that public attention moves quickly between royal controversies. Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie remain caught between loyalty to family and protection of their own lives. And the institution that spent decades attempting to contain controversy now faces a moment where control feels uncertain for the first time in years. Some families unravel slowly across generations. The York story feels different. Decades of tension, scandal, reconciliation, and fallout compressed into a single lifetime. The question now isn't whether more revelations will come. It's who speaks first and how much the world is ready to hear. So what do you think happens next? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear your perspective and keep this conversation going. If you found this breakdown interesting, make sure to like the video, share it with someone who follows royal news, and join the discussion with others watching right now. And most importantly, subscribe to Crown Clash, because every single day I bring you a brand new video unpacking the stories everyone is talking about, but few truly understand. Stay tuned. The next chapter might arrive sooner than anyone expects.